Shanti, thank you for being here with us this morning, and good morning, everyone. That's wonderful. There's an Ave Maria I like. Actually, that was one of my favorite prayers as I grew up Catholic. I remember one year talking about Catholicism here, and I started saying the words of Hail Mary, and half the congregation joined in. A lot of us traveled that path, didn't we? Yeah. And it still has a very beautiful place in my heart, my Catholic training. Anyway, how things going? My friend tells me that one of the planets is in retrograde. Yeah. Which I'm agreeing with now, because all sorts of crazy things are happening in my life, you know, and it's so perfect. We're studying intuition, you know, and listening to the messages of the world around you and in you. And I don't know about you, but I notice if I don't listen up, that the messages get louder and stronger and more intense. So I shared the early service that this morning I got up at 5 a.m. to do my prep work, and I made some coffee, but I forgot to put the coffee pot thing underneath it to catch the coffee. So, you know, it wasn't intuition that told me something that was wrong. It was the smell of coffee all over the kitchen, you know. But then I thought to myself as I was cleaning up, clinging to my friend's words, that it's the planets that are back to front. So be at peace with that. That's okay. Just clean it up. I'm cleaning it up. Got the towel all cleaned up, and it's all looking good. And so I make another pot calmly. But I ground the coffee, and I put the filter in the place where the coffee goes, but I forget to put the thing there that holds it, and it falls right through, and there's coffee grounds over what is now a sticky, wet counter, and I'm going, yeah, the planets are back to front, that's for sure. But really what I noticed is, you know, something's going on. And it's one of those things that tickles at you, that invites you to listen. And maybe that listen is pay attention. So I was looking at it, pay attention to what? And that's what we're talking about this whole month. The signals and instructions from life, and sometimes they're around us, but more specifically this month we're looking at the signals and instructions that come through us, from within us. Intuition, God in humankind, is what Ernest Holmes, our founder, called it. And you know, he had all kinds of advice about how to go about it. If you just page through the back of our textbook, there's all kinds of meditations that show you how close he was a follower of inward guidance. On page 538, there's this one called I Listen. And it says, I will listen for your voice in her presence. It will guide me and acquaint me with all knowledge. Ah, your voice is sweet and tender, always kind, always gentle. O lover of my soul, how I adore you, how I love you. How I love your voice, and it fills me with gladness, and it fills me with peace and calm and soothes me. It quiets me and gives me wonderful rest. And I listen, O divine speaker, I listen to you alone. And I sat with it and wow, maybe that's what the relationship to intuition is supposed to be like. But it's because I don't listen that sometimes it shows up as this chaotic experience. Actually, maybe it's more than that. Maybe I don't even know what intuition is. And that's one of the key questions that show up. Every time I talk about tuition, people say, well, how do I tell the difference between all of that stuff that's going on? There are plenty thoughts and feelings and directions, and how do I distinguish between that and intuition? Well, that's what we're looking at this month. And you know, by the way, I don't know if you realize this, every month we recommend books to supplement your journey. And this month's recommended books are Natural Born Intuition, it's in the bookstore, and this one, Developing Intuition by Shakti Gawain. And this one's got a whole chapter devoted to how to distinguish the difference between intuition and all of that stuff, exactly because there is so much other stuff going on inside of us. We might need a little coaching, sorting our way through it. The author says that she used to call intuition my inner voice until she realized how many inner voices there were in the average person, including her. And I know that's true for me. Oh boy, I have voices. It's all right, we're among friends. Do you have voices? All kinds of voices, and they're not all saying the same thing. Eat this, no, eat that. We're all one. Don't trust those people. Sometimes they're in direct conflict with each other. The one voice says, get up, you're going to be late, you need to be responsible. The other voice says, sleep in, your health is important, you need the rest. Okay, they're both rational, they're both correct. It's different advice. Which one? It can be interesting to figure out what to follow, what to listen to. What's my intuition and what's not? And that's what our focus is, to develop, to activate a sense of recognition, a radar to be able to tell, to develop that. And we're starting off by first paying attention that there is an inner world, starting to listen to it. And then we begin to become sensitive to, yes, there are differences. And it has less to do with the content than it has to do with the quality, the flavor, the energy. We start to notice energy differences between the things that move through us. It's a process of waking up to this inner world and becoming friendly with it. In a way of thinking, it is as if there are many different characters living in us. Do you have many characters living in you? I do. And each one has its own task, and its own mission, and its own belief system, and its own priorities, and its own function. And some of the characters in me are very well developed, and I present them. They speak for me to you. That's who you know. That's who you get to meet. Because there are other characters that I've got subdued, but I don't understand what they're about. And there are other characters I'm just downright ashamed of, And you'll never meet them. And you know how long that goes on. You notice, the voices I disown or try to subdue, now they have to clamor for attention. Now they're speaking louder because now they have fewer and fewer opportunities to express what is important to them. So they try harder and harder to get the point across. And so they sometimes express themselves with a sense of urgency that if I'm not paying attention, it sounds like this is important. And if I listen to that, trouble. When in fact, it's just the voice of the ignored lover, friend, parent, child saying, listen to me. I may not be correct, but listen to me. The part of activating a sensitivity to intuition is making friends with the whole thing that's going on inside. Even if it starts simply with acknowledging that it's there, so that that sense of desperation can relax a little bit. How? Well, talk therapy is good. Or you could have fun, get a pad of paper, sit down, and give all the people inside of you a name. You probably got the critic, the mom, the fool, the one that never grew up, the one that grew up too fast, the perfectionist, that lazy one. You got them. You can even give them real names and then try to describe their role in positive terms. That one's role is to make sure I don't overspeak.